Okay, just wanted to go over a quick review of Accuware's label connector for QuickBooks and what its relationship is with Bartender and how Bartender's labels and templates get tied in with our system. There's two ways and two places where we generally help most customers do this, but for people that are downloading a trial version, we wanted to kind of acquaint you with just how to tie your Bartender label in and how to set up your Bartender label. So the first thing is our system needs to know where you're storing your Bartender templates to be used with our system. So under General Settings, we have a path where you can set that path anywhere on your computer to save those Bartender labels. Here it's been set to a folder that we auto-create when we install, when we give you some samples. So this tells us where the Bartender label files exist so that when our system operates it knows the labels to use. So now once you've just started working with a Bartender template, there's a place in each dynamic field on the label where you need to configure the name of the piece of information you want to go in that particular spot. For example, we'll just pick the ship date field here. And you can see here I've got a long list of most of the fields for sales orders that we support. There may even be some beyond this, but you can see we do the complete ship to address, as well as just a lot of other fields here that are supported. But if we open up the ship date field, you can see in the properties window here, this is a two-part field where I've made a fixed piece that doesn't change, and then in the second half of the field, you can see here under the data source tab, I've already configured the name to be ship date, and that's one of the again supported fields. You could pull that out of this section here. If you made your own template, then you would have highlighted this element here to just type in the name, the appropriate name. In this case it was ship date is what was needing to be used so that the actual ship date from the sales order will go in that place. So on this template we've already got all of these fields sort of tied in with the Bartender label as existing fields. And I'm making these fields show here, just with the view feature in Bartender. I've got the data source names set up so that they can be viewed. It's a nice double check to make sure that you've got data source names showing up. So now the other aspect to this is, like, let's say you're building a template from scratch and you don't have those things already in your label. We can send you sample labels that have a lot of the fields already in there, but in our documentation, under the installation and configuration guide that comes with the label connector, down at the bottom, if you scroll down a ways past the installation section, you'll see we have all of the fields that we support, and this is where you could get the values that you need to plug into the Bartender label to get these dynamic elements to print on your label. So you can see here we've got a whole list of supported fields for sales orders, invoices, purchase orders, receipts without bill. This is for printing in packaging option, which I get into in some of the other movies that we have. You can print by just using the item grid from QuickBooks rather than just an order as well. So I hope that kind of answers the twofold question of, with Label Connector, how do the Bartender labels get configured to work with the system, and that's by configuring the path. And then when I'm in Bartender, what do I need to do with my format to make it so that this field will take that dynamic piece of data, and it's in the data source tab, and you can click this little icon here to do various ways to configure that to work properly with the label connector.